Glad to see you on our channel. We hope that this video will be interesting. A zoo that closed due to the coronavirus said it may feed some animals to others. The German zoo, which is battling monetarily because of an absence of any supporters, said the arrangement was a most dire outcome imaginable. A zoo in Germany stood out as truly newsworthy on Wednesday after its executive said staff might be compelled to channel a portion of the recreation center's creatures to different creatures as they stand up to conceivable money-related ruin because of the coronavirus pandemic. Tierpark Neumünster, which sits among Hamburg and the Danish outskirt in Germany's north, has been shut to paying visitors since March 15 because of an administration request to close down superfluous organizations in the nation. Chief Verena Kaspari revealed to the German press agency, DPA, and the Die Welt newspaper that as her zoo battles to channel its around 700 creatures in the midst of the money-related aftermath, they have drawn up crisis designs that include some intense choices. In the event that, and this is actually the most exceedingly awful, most pessimistic scenario of all, in the event that I no longer have any cash to purchase feed, or on the off chance that it ought to happen that my feed provider is not, at this point ready to convey because of new limitations, at that point I would butcher creatures to take care of different creatures, she said. Delegates from the zoo didn't react to a solicitation for input, yet a representative affirmed Kaspari's remarks to the New York Times. The representative likewise told the paper that the zoo's 12-foot-tall polar bear, Vitus, would sit at the highest point of the notorious natural pecking order and be saved. Kaspari disclosed to German open broadcaster Deutsche Welle that imperiled creatures would not be murdered, however that any goats and deer would be first on the butcher rundown. It's a most dire outcome imaginable, she said. We don't see it arriving in such a state yet, however we need to consider it sufficiently early. Other animals at the zoo, as indicated by its site, incorporate alpacas, dingoes, deer, lynxes, seals, reindeer, wildcats, turtles, and chinchillas. Vitus the polar bear swimming in his tank. Germany's Association of Zoological Gardens, of which the Neumünster Zoo is a part, explained on Twitter that they didn't bolster the thought. The proposition communicated by one creature park to execute creatures in light of monetary misfortunes due to the coronavirus doesn't speak to our affiliation's sentiment, the group tweeted. We are chipping away at money-related answers for help our zoos until they're permitted to open their doors once more. On March 31, the affiliation required an administration bailout of more than $100 million for its 56-part zoos in Germany. In contrast to different offices, we can't just close down our ranch, Leipzig Zoo chief and affiliation president Jörg Junhold said in a statement. Our creatures, despite everything, must be taken care of and thought about. A zoo chief in Hanover told German magazine Der Spiegel it costs more than $68,000 every day to run the zoo, yet the recreation center right now has no salary. Jan Philipp Albrecht, the Earth Serve for the territory of Schleswig-Holstein, in which the Neumünster Zoo sits, said the crisis butchering of zoo creatures ought not occur, taking note of that government and state help was accessible. Kaspari said her zoo had applied for government help, yet had gotten nothing up until this point and was depending exclusively on donations. Germany at present has more than 130,000 affirmed instances of the coronavirus, however there have been around 3,600 passings in the nation, a similarly lower rate than nations with a similar pace of diseases. Germany and the UK both recorded their first cases around the same time in January, yet Chancellor Angela Merkel moved rapidly proportional up testing and contact following. While zoos in the U.S. are likewise feeling monetary weight because of the coronavirus, Danish, president and CEO of the Association of Zoos and Aquariums, AZA, disclosed to BuzzFeed News he was sure that part zoos were all the while taking great consideration of their creatures. While all AZA individuals are at present working under extreme financial pressure, none is in a position where creature care is undermined, he said. On the off chance that a comparable circumstance, as the Neumünster Zoo, were to happen at an AZA certify office, I am sure AZA and its individuals would figure out how to give help, he stated, counting by moving any creatures the office couldn't enjoy. Kaspari, the Neumünster Zoo chief, said moving creatures was likewise a choice at her zoo, in spite of the fact that that was simpler for certain creatures than other bigger predators, similar to Vitus the polar bear. On the off chance that things get extremely intense here and the zoo must be destroyed, I can't simply place it in a container and transport it elsewhere, she said. Kaspari doesn't trust her group will be compelled to complete its most dire outcome imaginable on the grounds that other creature parks have offered to send fish and meat to take care of her zoo's predators should it come to it. In any case, Kaspari noticed, the butcher of certain creatures to take care of others is standard practice at zoos around the globe. If you liked the video or it was just interesting, like and subscribe to the channel.